Okay, so I'm in East London and there's like sirens in the background. I say East London, it's east from where I live. And I'm hoping my phone doesn't get snatched up. But yeah, I've never done a proper like video before. So this is me just coming out just to yap and talk about stuff. Hopefully it's not too long and people who understand what I'm getting at will understand what I'm getting at and those that don't. Um this what is the key takeaway? I hate like trending sounds and like trending tidbits on people like this is one thing you need to know. And I'm like, okay, yeah, like who are you? And like why are you telling me? Like um but yeah, so this is water by the way, it's my little handbag water bottle. Um yeah, how do I summarize what I want to say? If you're someone who is currently not where they want to be in life because you feel like life has dealt you um a bad hand, um like use whatever privileges you have. And I know that sounds like a very privileged thing to say. It sounds very much just like just made up contact with people. Like if one of those people is recording themselves in public, like now I know how it is when people are looking at are they looking back. Anyway, so yeah, use whatever privileges you have. And I know it sounds like those rich people are like, if you're homeless, just buy a house. Like, no, that's not how it works. And that's not what I believe at all. But use what privileges you have and whatever life has dealt you. What does that mean in practice? I Not go into too much detail. I didn't even drink my water. I opened it and shut it back down. I don't come from a family that has a lot of money. Um, and that it could be seen as a disadvantage because there's people out there who it's a privilege to come from a family that has loads of money. We live in late stage capitalism, of course it is. Um, but what I do have is two parents who are very hardworking, who sacrificed so much to bring me and my sisters. I say bring me because like I was already alive and my sisters were born here, but like create a life for their family, which just so happened to become me and my sisters. In this foreign country, and they left everything they know. They were refugees, and so what does that come with? An incredible sense of resilience, and a lot of lessons. There's so many lessons that my parents have learned through what they've um, gone through. Um, Maybe we put ourselves through different things as well. Maybe there's some things or environments that they, yeah, have created for me and my sisters that we have like grown through and created, and those have been my lessons to learn. So things like what to look for in a relationship. There's some lessons that I can look at my parents and know I want this for myself. Like this is amazing, this is great. There's also some things where I can look at and be like, absolutely not, no, thank you, no, no, thank you. Um, Whereas other people might not have that it's not a privilege, but like I'm gonna keep using the word privilege. Some people might not have that privilege, and so they have to go through those lessons themselves because they come from an environment that was very supportive and very loving, and unfortunately they find themselves in a situation that is not ideal, and so it's a privilege to be able to learn lessons from other people. It's a privilege to have parents, like whether you get along with them or not, um, like reshape things into like whatever it is being privileged. Like instead of thinking like this thing is, I keep saying privilege, God. And there's so many people. Why is it everyone and their mama out and about? Jesus. But luckily, I'm not in my own neighborhood, so I'm not going to see anyone I know. But yeah, there's so many things that like people think about as like an actual privilege, like finances. If you're someone who doesn't come from a background that how do I say this in a way? Basically, I don't come from a background that has loads of money. I've already said that. But then, like, what do I have? I've been able to access things like funds and programs and internships that got me into rooms that other people might never get into. Fair enough, they might get into them because their parents like have the connections and social things, but that's not always the case. And I'm not like saying reframe things into being a privilege just for the sake of saying it. For other people, it's for yourself. Like I recently got a job offer for a company that I have been keeping my eye on since like 2017 when it was still an idea before it even opened. And they opened up, and I was going to study at this university, and then I didn't. I went to a different university, and yeah, like my whole life has been reframing things and trying to like shout out Fall Out Boy. I used to listen to that song about like being a phoenix and rising up from the ashes or whatever. If you know, you'll know the song. But yeah, it's reframe your life experiences into your privilege, and it just makes life so much easier to deal with. There's so many things I still like don't have, like little things like oh god, I really want to lose weight. And that's always been my thing, and I did lose some weight. I lost about 18 kilos, and I've gained some back. I'm not going to say how much, but yeah, I loved how I felt in my body, and it was always wanting to be this like just be like um, I've always wanted to look a certain way, but then when I actually got to the goal number I had, I realized it's actually how I felt about myself and how I looked about myself. But then I also realized that like actually I like looking like a certain shape, a certain way. I like to feel strong. And then I started reframing it to like what a privilege it is to have this body shape I have, because I'm someone who values muscle. I'm someone who values my curviness for myself. Like that is how my ancestors look. That's how I want to look. So I've been so many people. That is something that I value, and so that's something that I've been able to like spotlight in my life and try and build on a little bit more. Like I can't compare myself to my friends who are skinny, tall, white, blonde, blue eyes. That's not something I want to be. They are beautiful, they're lovely. I would just use those four characteristics because I live in England, and that's usually the kind of joke of like what people compare themselves. I'm not saying that's a joke, but the joke of like, oh, I'll never be tall, skinny, white, blonde, or uh, but there's like beautiful like black models out there. There's like representation for everyone. You just need to go out and find it. Like we have our phones in our on a bench, but like we have our phones in our pockets. We have the internet. We have access to like everything that has ever existed in human history, and like you're able. Jeez, so many people. Why are they all? I feel like there's like a mass pilgrimage that I need to like look into. I'm literally watching lots of people walk that way, and I'm like the only one sat down. But that said, there is also the tube station right over there. But yeah, we're living in this time and era where there's just so much information in like our hands, in the pockets of our hands, and I don't think we do much with it. We literally don't do much with it, and I think we should do more. I think we should generally do more just for ourselves, like sorry, yeah, reframing things into what is a privilege, what do you have, what don't you have. Like I don't have parents who own a business, so if I wanted to start a job at their company I can do that. They don't have connections in the industries that I want to work in, and they don't live in the city I live in. They don't have a spare room. So if I wanted to move home, there is no space for me to move back home indefinitely and full time. I, without getting too much detail, have the best relationship with my parents. Whether that's my fault or like the circumstances, we'll never know. We'll never know. Um, but yeah, it's just not an environment that I feel comfortable like going back to full time. Um, and thus I cannot go back to it. Whereas I have friends who are from London or from other cities who've been able to go back home, and they feel such safety and comfort living with their father or their mother or their siblings. And I love my siblings, but they're widow people, like they're like young, so it's not like we can just all like get a flat and like live together, you know. Maybe one day. I love them so much, but that said, what privilege do I have? I have amazing friends. I went to a great university, and my friends are in the same kind of like mindset as me. We earn a similar amount, we live in the same city, we have the same goals, and we live together. That's a real privilege. That's really lucky. And I'm reframing that into like what a beautiful thing it is to have friends that want to live with me and I want to live with, and we can like form a little home together, we can get furniture together, we can yeah, grow together. And that's just something I don't have, is like a family that supports me in the same way that like they're supported. But that's my thing. And if I focus too much on the, oh, I can't do this with my mum, or I can't do this with my dad, or like this happened when I was like this age or that age, then like who's gonna suffer? Me. Um, and I refuse to sit in that. And if I'd sat in it, I wouldn't. And I don't want it to sound like life is this meritocracy thing, but I think we have more power than we give ourselves. And I hear it so much when people are like, you just need to do the thing, you just need to believe in yourself, da 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 da. But yeah, it's really difficult doing the work that you need to do, but it's so worth it. It's so worth it. Like here, I sit on a bench in East London, um, with a job offer. for a company I'm really excited for, and with a boyfriend that I love so much, so very much. Um, and it's all things that people didn't believe then for me. Yo, English is a language. English is a third language for some of us. Um, it's not. It's my first language, but I still make mistakes. But yeah, I so many things. Like my dad was like discouraging me coming to London. Mostly, I think from a he wanted to help me and support me, and he felt like I'd be too far away. I don't know. That's the spin I'm putting on things. I'll never know what goes on in other people's minds, but it was coming from a good place. I like to think. But I did it. I moved to London. It was difficult. It's expensive, and it's still expensive. But I still have my struggles and so many different things. And I don't work in the industry I studied in. But I'm so glad I did my course. Um, you just have to make a decision and sit in it and just firm it. Just like you can't go back, you can't change something. Just fully accept where you are. I'm going on so many different tangents. This is turning into more of like a YouTube video, but I hate that it's like vertical as opposed to landscape. Um, and I was speaking to some people at the event today, and I was saying there's just so many little things that I've learned, and it kind of all comes down to intelligence and symbols of wisdom and learning from ancestors. And I was saying that my personal life philosophy for this year is Sankofa, because this one, I won't say their name, but we'll call them Sarah. So Sarah is this amazing woman who's doing a master's at this institution where I'll be working, and she mentioned the concept of Sankofa, which is comes from the Adinkra tribe, um, or Adinkra cosmology. I'm still learning, so please don't come for me. Um, I'm a student of life. I'm a student of the world, and yeah, she was mentioning how it's this idea that we can go, oh, the street lights are on, it's time to go home. But yeah, she was saying that like we can learn so much from our ancestors, and like the idea of Sankofa is like go back. It's okay to learn from your mistakes or learn from the past and bring it back into the future. And for me, the most important part of Sankofa, whether it's actually in the translation or the cosmology, is that like go back and learn, but bring it back. Like bring it back. Like don't just like look back, you know, because I think a lot of the time we look back and it's so easy for you to just like time keeps moving. It's like sitting on a train and looking backwards. The train keeps moving. It will keep moving whether you like it or not. And you'll blink. And there's someone called Evie blah blah blah. But she's used to work for the Secret Service or something in America, and she's got these BBC Maestro videos, and Evie was talking about how she was working in the Secret Service in America, and she was speaking to someone who was like, "Oh my god, you're so cool! I really wanted to do your job, and oh, I just never did it because my mum told me to be a teacher." And then the mum was off. So there's Evie, and then we'll call her Sarah, Sarah and her mum Anne. So Sarah was talking, and she was like, "Oh my god, like yeah, I wanted to become a detective like you, work for the I just loved all this stuff." And Evie, the detective, was like to Sarah, the teacher, "Why are you a teacher? Like, why didn't you? You're like 40 something. You never got to do this thing. Like, there's still time, and you had time. Like, if you had this conversation with your mother Anne, why didn't you change? And why didn't you do this other thing?" And she was just there, like, "Well, my mom told me like to do this thing, and I did it." And her mom was like, "I'm so sorry. I told you to be a teacher because I was thinking about my life, and this would have been so safe for me. You would have had a pension. You would have had summers off with your kids if you wanted to have kids. Like, I never got to have like all these things. Like your parents like only tell you, they only train you as much as they know, and you're meant to take that like sankofa, learn from the past and keep going. And then if you don't keep it going, you kind of just sit there looking at the past." And so she was just always bitter. Imagine now being 50 and being upset that your mom told you to be a teacher and you just never did anything else. And I understand different generations have like different like levels of just like pressure, or like I'm also someone who, probably to the much dismay of my parents and my grandparents, I don't like the idea of just respect your ancestors because they're like your ancestors. Like there's someone out there who's a descendant of, think of an evil person. I'm not going to say anyone, but think of like your least favorite person, someone horrible in history. Um, yeah, and like doesn't mean they're a good person, you know, just because like they're now an ancestor. Um, or like your grandparents or other people. I love my grandparents personally, but like, yeah, I don't like the idea of just respecting elders for the sake of them being elder. Like, some older people do whack stuff. they do whack stuff. Like, we need to question the workings of people who are older than us. Otherwise, that's how you get into these really misogynistic traditions that like don't respect women, that don't respect children. That are, it's abuse. It's abuse hidden as tradition. It's abuse hidden as a culture, as identity, as we are Africans, like Cienza local, like this is what we do, like like this is what we are, like we're black people, this is what differentiates us from this tribe and like other people. And it's like, yeah, you know, there's yes, like little things like the jewelry I'm wearing. My partner is Irish, so this is the Trinity symbol, and it's got like some green like emeralds, I think, like some little, and so that represents like his culture and his heritage, and I love it because that like connects me. And I have this ring. It's the outline of Africa, and like I'll never forget that I'm African. But like for me, it like shows my culture of like these people who've like adorned themselves with other jewelry, and maybe other cultures don't. Like I was raised in a religion that doesn't wear jewelry, Seventh Day Adventism, and so for me to be wearing this doesn't say who I am. But if I wasn't wearing this jewelry, that would tell you something about me. Um, what else? Like this elephant. I love elephants because my grandmother's surname is Ndlovu, and so like it just reminds me of like her and just learning and the idea of like elephants being strong, sturdy. I have so many. This whole bracelet is like elephants and this elephant, and these earrings are from my old manager who's from South Africa, and I used to love the glass beads, and they were from Ghana, and they were amazing. That's my favorite thing. And when I worked at the shop, that was like the thing I'd love to like try and not like push to people, but like try and sell the most because I was like they're beautiful, and it's one of, as a broke uni student, one of the cheapest things. It was affordable to me, so therefore like it's affordable to other people. Meanwhile, other people buying scarves for like triple or double that price or 10 times that price, and yeah, money is an issue for other people. But yeah, for me as a broke uni student, that's what connected me to. And so now this tells the story of like the manager and that I absolutely love and I'm connected to, and the lessons I've learned from her, and like her country. She's from South Africa. She knows like that history more than I do as a Zimbabwean. And so yeah, anyway, all that to say is like there's so much in our culture and who we are that we should appreciate and take forward and learn. But there's also so many other things that we need to drop. You can't just say oh, this is not related, but I just thought of there's a saying of we simply cannot say that we cannot build because the conditions are not right. I don't know if that's connected, but you know. But yeah, so it reminds me of how I just maybe I should have been more respectful to my parents at times, but I just never gelled with the idea of like this is how we do it, so this is the way it has to be done. There's some cultures and customs and even, dare I say, religions. I was raised Christian, so I will only speak about my branch of Christianity. Things that like we need to assess and question things. Like don't just dismantle something because you don't like it, but question it. And then when you have a clear sense of understanding of why you don't agree with it, then you can actually be like, okay, for example, I don't like the idea of like not wearing jewelry as a sign of godliness. That's something I've always disagreed with, being Seventh Day Adventist. So I wear jewelry because I love it. It's beautiful. I think it's amazing what humans can do and creativity. And like I had this argument. Oh, it's not like we had an argument, but like I had the conversation point with my mother where I was like, there's people from India who wear so much jewelry, more than like we do. I just picked India for an example because I had friends who are Indian. I was like, you're not going to look at like this person who's my friend and be like, you're evil because like she just happened to be born in India and this is the way that her culture adorns themselves. In the same way that you're not going to look at like Zimbabweans and say like, trying to think of like, we don't have a lot of fashion. Um, that said, I'm also like, I was born in Zim, but basically raised in UK for like since I was 9. Um, but yeah, I can't think of anything. But anyway, the whole point is you're not going to look at someone for necessarily how they dress and inherently call them evil for their culture. Like that's wrong. That's what the colonizers did when they came to Africa. They said you're primitive. You're, um, yeah, I can't think of any other words right now. I'm lecturing people, but I can't think. But yeah, so they came to Africa and they told us that we're dirty, we're unintelligent. Um, our systems are broken, our women are fat, are ugly, diseased, and the men are this and the children are that, just because they looked at us and they like made these assumptions. And like if you're not wearing a top, it would have been like, oh, like the women are vulgar, they're too sexual, and it's like, yo, have you seen how hot it is in Africa? Like it's a bajillion degrees when it's summer. Like if I too lived in a society that was like you don't have to wear a t-shirt, like men walk around in like no like topless all the time. Um, but like anyway, all that to say, context. What did um oh, I am not the one for speaking to the internet because I know I know jack shit. I know nothing. Um, former Vice President of America, Kamala Camilla Harris, Kamala Harris. She almost said Camilla, but yeah, Camilla's the Queen of England. Not my queen, but hey, topic for another day. But yeah, she was like, you exist in the context of all the things that came before you. You can't just take things in like silos. And I remember having a conversation with my dad once where we're talking about Christianity, and can't remember if it's his point or my point. Well, I remember, but I'm not going to say because I'm not on the internet to like spill my family's beliefs or their business. Um, but yeah, like a point was made on how like Christianity, the way that we've been raised and the way that we have it, didn't come from us. Like we weren't just born and we were like this blonde-haired, blue-eyed white man from Galilee, Bethlehem, Nazareth is going to be like our king, or like he's going to be like my Lord and Savior. Like there's so many other things. We had our own spiritualities. We had our own things. Like in the same way that Christianity, Abrahamic religions, there's similarities with like Judaism, Islam, and all the like 14,531 denominations of Christianity. There's similarities and there's differences. That also partly comes from like where we come from. Anyway, I've gone on a long tangent. This is going on for like 20 minutes. I'm gonna go home soon. But long story long. This is not long story short. In conclusion, question things. Question things. Like the reason we're in this mess, I'm not going to outline what mess it is because everything is bullshit. Everything is cack, it's pure cack. Like just the idea of like you're born because two people they did the tango. Um, whether they loved each other or not, that's a topic for you and your ancestors to debate when you when you get to the there yonder. But like, yeah, and now I have to pay taxes. Now I have to pay rent. I have to find a relationship because no, I can be alone. I didn't want to say like I can't be alone, but like I choose to love. I love love, and I love my partner, so I want to be with them. But yeah, now we have to find a husband. And now you have to buy a house. Now you have to get married, and now like, the cows have to come home, and like all because did I ask to be here? I don't know. That's a topic for another day as well. Because some people believe in like reincarnation. I don't even know what that accent is. Like sometimes when I say my South African, like Southern African accent comes out a little bit more. But also I like to joke in a way. So sometimes it's like a caricature of the Shona accents that were around me growing up. Or the Ndebele accents. Ndebeles get away scot free. I was raised by my Ndebele grandparents, so I think I'm more culturally Ndebele than anything. But yeah, like the world is pure cack. The idea that we have like these old white men is okay. I'm not gonna have a go at white men today, but like we have these old men who are like one sneeze away from the grave, well one away from death. Um, running our lives. They're the ones creating AI. They're the ones chopping down this tree. On the topic of AI, God, there's this amazing quote at this event I went to, and someone was talking about if you're going to chop down something or kill a life or cut down a tree, whatever you create afterwards has to be as beautiful to that life. And it just made me really appreciate indigenous cultures more because the whole idea of like, oh, veganism is the way to go. There's cultures who are vegan. Like that's, again, you exist in the context of all the things that came before you. But there's also, yeah, these sounds. I hope it's not too loud. If it's loud, cover your ears. Anyway, so like, where was I going with this? yeah, living in London. I hope they're okay. There's an ambulance car. But yeah, so this idea of like eating meat is like evil and it's horrible. Like I don't agree with it. Um, Also just the idea that like people who used to kill animals, like it's evil. I like personally, maybe I'll change my mind, but for now, I don't agree with the fact that if you eat meat, you're evil or harmful, because oftentimes you have more appreciation for the land and the culture and the animal, because energy is always moving, it's always shifting. So like if you're someone who lives, like you're just born and you live, you have to survive, right? I'm not saying this isn't translating to humans hurting humans. We're talking about humans hurting animals. Um, and you're born somewhere that's really cold, like let's say the yeah the up there, the Arctic, the Antarctic, Antarctica, Arctic. I'm quoting a meme. The guy, there's a guy. If you know the meme, you'll know the meme. I don't even remember what it is, but yeah. So yeah, and if there's polar bears around and they've lived and they've had their young, you have to kill them to survive. And if you use their fat to, I don't know what you'd use their fat for, maybe to render the leather, create leather. That's like clothes that are passed on through generations. That's good quality pieces that keep you warm. And that's one polar bear. Use it for the meat and use everything that comes from the animal. That is more appreciation for that creature than just killing an entire thing just for the limb. If you like take something like this entire human and you just want the thumb and you discard everything else, I think that's more disrespectful than being like, we'll use the leather, we'll use the hair, we'll use the like everything else. I think that is more sustainable. But I have gotten myself into a debate that I am not qualified for. I'm just yapping like excuse the ableist language, the crazy woman. But yeah, I just wanted to talk, and I'll probably put this in YouTube now because it's like far too long of a video. There's just so many strange. They're not like watching me or anything. They're just existing. But there's just so many strange people in the park. They're just people standing. Men are entitled to their space too, but men, yo, like you have made the world incredibly, incredibly, incredibly unsafe for the rest of us. So just seeing a man standing is literally just minding his business. But still, anyway, I'm getting myself into far too many debates. I'm gonna get cancelled for talking about religion. I'm gonna get cancelled for talking about privilege. That we should all just like check our own privilege in a nice way. Like, what do you have? Um, Play to your strengths is what I'm trying to say, basically. So, yeah, I'm gonna get cancelled for saying that men are existing in public. uh, what else am I gonna get cancelled for? Probably so many more things, but I don't have the circus nor the monkeys to explain this to you. Something about circus or monkeys or crayons and stuff, but yeah, I am gonna go home.